So are you one of those Californians that are looking to abandon ship, get out of harm's way, make that move to a different state? Well, I got a option for you that is probably one that you didn't think of. Have you ever considered moving to Oklahoma?
Oklahoma!
What's going on, guys? It's Steven, the 918 agent, and today we are going to be talking about the California versus Oklahoma situation that everybody's been talking about.
Really?
All right, maybe not everybody's been talking about it, but I've moved a lot of people from California over the last year and a half to Oklahoma, and I would like to say they love it. I mean, there's a couple of things that, they don't like, but for the most part, they really like to move. So what in this video I'm going to be going over is the 5 things that you need to think about when possibly making that transition from California to Oklahoma.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
And some people might say, Steven, did you just cover all the negative things about California? Yes, I did. But to my defense, I did go over all the negative things about Oklahoma in a separate video. So if you want to see that video, click that link right there.
God, he's telling the truth.
My last thing I'm going to tell you is something very valuable. It's something so valuable that it might sway your decision on moving to Oklahoma. And what's that thing? If you move to Oklahoma. But you're going to sit around and wait to the very end of my video for that valuable thing. And speaking of valuable things, something that I would like a value that you can give me is a huge like on this video. So if you don't mind,
Say no more.
So let's go ahead and dive into the 5 points of why you should consider moving to Oklahoma from California. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to look at is the cost of living. So a couple of points on that is entertainment is 18% lower. So I'm talking about movie theaters, parks, bowling alleys, any type of that entertainment is usually about 18% lower from California. Healthcare, so this is doctor visits, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, things like that is normally 17% lower California to Oklahoma. Groceries is 21% lower, and that's bread, eggs, all those good things. And what's the other thing?
Did we do gas prices?
No, Kent. We did not cover gas prices, and that's a big indicator, especially right now, what the gas prices have been doing lately. And so right now, on a national average, $3.28 is what you pay for a gallon of gas. In California, the average is $4.65. Here in Oklahoma, it's $2.87 per gallon. Normally, it's around $2.50, $2.40. So this is pretty high for us here. Now let's talk about income tax and sales tax and all those good things. So California's income tax range is anywhere from 1% to 12.3%. In Oklahoma right now, Oklahoma is 5%. Right now as we speak, but here in the next couple months, they are actually going to be dropping that state income tax to 4.75%, 1% to 12.3%. So what does that mean? So on a median household income in the United States is $60,000. So that's the median household income. If you were making $60,000 as a family and living in California, you would be paying 9.3% in the state income tax on that range. In Oklahoma, you'll be paying 4.75.
You have got to be kidding me.
Now, the sales tax in California is 7.25 to 10.75, depending on where you're living at in this great state of California. It's a big state. Here in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma sales tax is 4.5%. Property tax, now this is where California gets us here in Oklahoma. Property tax is 0.73% over there in California. In Oklahoma, it's 0.87%. Now, the other thing about cost of living that a lot of people talk about, and what what my profession is as a real estate agent, is home values. This is huge. The typical home value in California is $727,000. What? That will buy you a mansion in Oklahoma. If you don't believe me, this house right here that I'm showing right now is a house in Oklahoma that you can buy for $727,000. Now that's the house over here that you can buy in California for $727,000. Crazy, right?
That is insane.
The typical home value for Oklahoma is $162,000, which I don't even think you can buy a tent in California for $162,000. Actually, I don't even think you can buy a condo.
He's right, you can't.
And that's the average price in Oklahoma. So wrapping all this up in a nice little bow, I'm going to tell you off of this calculator I found online, if you made a certain amount in California, what you needed to make in Oklahoma to keep your same lifestyle. So I'm going to use, once again, the median household income of $60,000 for the United States. So if you were to make $60,000 in California, you would only need to make $34,000 here in Oklahoma to maintain your same lifestyle. So that cost of living is basically 42% lower if you lived in Oklahoma versus California. All right, the next topic we're going to talk about is, once again, another obvious topic, is the weather. All right, so the average summer temp in California is anywhere from 91 to 97. The average winter temperature is 67 degrees. That is insane. Here in Oklahoma, our average summer is 93 degrees. Now, there's some things you need to know about that of, humidity, the heat index. So basically the heat index in Oklahoma, it might feel like 110. So we have actually really hot summers. The winter here in Oklahoma, the average is 27 degrees. So, 67 degrees in California or 27 degrees in Oklahoma. I don't have to think very long on that one. The average rainfall here in Oklahoma is 36 inches of rain. And then the average snowfall is 6 inches a year. So there's some other things we need to talk about, and that is forest fires, earthquakes, and tornadoes.
They got earthquakes, wildfires.
So let's talk about earthquakes. In California, the average amount of earthquakes they get a year is 10,000. Now, a lot of those earthquakes are so small that a lot of people can't even feel them. Only about a couple of hundred of them are in a magnitude of 3.0 and higher. And only about 15 or 20 are actually greater than a 4.0 magnitude. In Oklahoma, we actually do have earthquakes here in Oklahoma. We average about 50 a year. But out of those 50, only 1 or 2 are actually felt. So you actually can only feel 1 or 2. So we don't have that many. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is forest fires. So I know California has a ton of forest fires, and Oklahoma has some. So I'm not going to lie, Oklahoma does have some forest fires. But let me put this in perspective for you. So on a yearly basis, California has about 10,400 number of fires each year. Oklahoma has 1,241. But I really want to focus on is the amount of acreage that is lost in a forest fire. So back in 2020, 4 million acres were burnt down in California versus Oklahoma had about 100,000. The last thing we're going to talk about for weather is obviously tornadoes, which we averagely produce about 56 tornadoes every year in Oklahoma. Now, there's a lot more to say on that. So once again, click that video right there about Oklahoma tornadoes. Oklahoma has an average of 56 tornadoes versus California has an average of 12 tornadoes. Number 3 on my duel of California versus Oklahoma is traffic. California has a lot of it. So let me just say this fact and then we'll move on. I looked up the top 20 worst traffic cities in the United States. 6 of those cities were in California, and none of them were in Oklahoma. So let me give you the list. And this is just for California, the worst. Number 6 was Sacramento. Number 5 was Riverside. Number 4 was San Diego. 3 was San Jose. 2 was San Francisco. And then obviously number 1 was LA. Now that was spread out over the top 20, but those were all obviously in California, and none of those were in Oklahoma City. So average traffic here in the Tulsa area, I would say, is anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, where the average traffic in LA, I think, was 2 hours. So that's just
blows my mind.
All right, the next comparable we're going to be taking a look at is COVID. So in my opinion, this is not a win or lose on either state. This is a personal preference on what you believe is right for this situation that we have going on. 2 different states taking 2 complete different approaches. Not saying one is wrong and one is right. This is totally what's best for you and your family. I'm just going to explain what Oklahoma has been doing. We know that California, has schools shut down, has mask mandates, is requiring, vaccine cards and things like that to get into restaurants, outdoor eating, and a lot of other things. Religious gatherings at some point were, all canceled. So once again, that's what California is doing. This is what Oklahoma is doing. So we actually had a massive shutdown, just like most of the rest of the United States, back in March, April, May of 2020. After that massive shutdown at the end of April of 2020, everything reopened. We did have a short mask mandate from July 2020 to basically April of 2021, where Tulsa, not Oklahoma, sorry, Tulsa had a mask mandate. And then after that, it was lifted. Vaccines aren't mandated. You don't have to show a card to get into anything. At least most things. There might be some private businesses in Oklahoma that require it. And yeah, so pretty much no one wears a mask. Schools are open. Definitely two complete opposite sides on how to tackle COVID.
We get it.
So this is what you've been waiting for. What's the incentive? All right, so basically this is it. I will give you $10,000 to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
That's a lie!
I won't give you $10,000, but a great program called Tulsa Remote will actually give people $10,000 to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is great. And it is Tulsa Remote. So you actually will get $10,000 to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma if you meet certain criteria. So if you want to know that criteria, click that link right there. It's called What is Tulsa Remote? It explains everything. But to kind of give you the highlights, if you are a remote worker looking to move from pretty much anywhere around the United States, doesn't just have to be California, you can apply for this great program and they will give you $10,000 if you are accepted. And also a lot of other great things to be part of the community here in Tulsa. So they have a lot of gatherings. You get a free co-working space called 36 Degrees North, which is super fantastic. So a lot of great things with that Tulsa Remote program. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't liked this video, give me a huge like. And then also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And you actually can click my face right there too. That video right there gives you everything you need to know about Tulsa. And then this video right here down below is what YouTube recommends that you watch off my channel. Thanks for watching. Steven out.